everyone, welcome back to It's All Light. I'm your host, Natalie Baugh, and tonight's guest is Em Desmond.
Hi guys, how are you?
Guys, guess what? She is my roommate, and literally just down the hall in her room on her computer. And I'm so grateful Em agreed to be on my podcast. For
Yeah.
one, she's the kindest human I've ever gotten to live with. Like, just seriously, it's been a month, if that?
Yeah, something like that.
Month and a half, and it's awesome, and it's so fun to get to know her, and now you guys get to as well. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see like glimpses of Em behind her in her room. When she moved in, I was like, can you show me, like, give me a tour of your room? What does it all mean? Like, it's so cool, and she has all these like pieces of her life over her room. So we're gonna hear bits and pieces of that today, won't we?
Yes. So excited.
So you said you grew up all over the place.
Yes.
Where was your favorite place you lived?
Oh gosh. It's definitely a toss up between Montana and South Carolina.
Mm,
South Carolina has so much history. Like the Civil War started there. Like
yeah.
I was able to go and visit the fort where it started. And there's just so much history and just so much beauty there. And so it was really cool. I was really young and I want to go back now and go visit. And then Montana for me, like that's kind of where I'm like all my friends that I'm still friends with still live there. That we met there, and so that's kind of like it's more of a nostalgia for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I love going back. It's so pretty, like some of the prettiest sunsets you'll ever see.
Oh, I bet.
And so probably those two. Sorry, long story short, those South
I
Carolina,
love that.
Montana.
So, where do you hope to end up?
Um, I here's my problem is I'm very much a um not a flight risk, but I love to experience new things. I'd love to live in South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd love to live with somewhere that I've never been.
Yeah.
Um,
Flight risk, is that what you call it?
yeah, like a flight risk. Like I've moved. Like I think because I moved so much growing up, I get kind of antsy. Like a year and a half into living somewhere, I'm like, hey, I gotta go somewhere. I've got to switch it up. I've got to do something different.
I like that.
Yeah, and so it's kind of transitioned into that. So
That's kind of
we'll
fun, though.
see. I'd love to live in Alaska at some point. I went and visited
Yeah.
last year, and that was super cool.
What part did you go to?
It's a little town called Ketchikan.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, my friend was up there working, and I got to go visit her, and it was just a really cute town. I don't know if I would want to live there, but to go visit would be really cool again.
That's so fun. I love that.
Yeah.
You were saying also you love little candies like Skittles and peanut butter M&Ms, and then Dr. Pepper or Mountain Dew.
Yes.
Solid,
It always
solid
depends
choices.
which one. So
Well, fun. So now the meat of the podcast. What do you light up about?
I love bright things. I love happy things. I spent a very good chunk of my life very unhappy with the situation that I was in, just in life. Like I moved a ton. I was young. I was angry. I wanted to be where I'd been before, and so I spent a lot of time being angry and just really bitter about life. And in the last year or so, finding joy in who I am and like the bright things like my room. Like it's just it's colorful. I love colors.
Yeah.
I love to paint. I've got this cart of just a billion paints right here. I just love to color and just create things.
That's happy.
Yeah,
I love that.
it's very happy. I think I'm definitely not a minimalist in that sense of I want things to decorate life. I want things to be pretty. And it doesn't have to be like aesthetic. Like if it's bright and cheery that like it makes you happy, then that's what's important.
Yeah.
So
yeah, your room has like different themes around
yes,
it. And it all comes together though because it's all that same core of like it brings you joy.
Joy, yeah. I really like to focus on that. And for so long, again, it was so long where I was just angry.
Yeah.
Just choose to be happy. I guess that's and I've struggled with anxiety my entire life and was only diagnosed once I was an adult. And so I think that was a really hard thing for me when everyone's like, be happy, it's okay. Like that was really hard for me to hear. Like I struggle on a daily basis. But just finding those little things of joy, those pockets of joy when things seem so big and disastrous has been huge for me.
So how did you kind of get to that breakthrough?
Honestly, it took a lot. this past year has been super tough for me, just like one thing after another. Like that phrase, when it rains it pours, was my life this last year. And I really had to focus. I did a lot of journaling. I did a ton of journaling. I stayed busy too. I worked 2 jobs for about the last year, and I had to stay busy. But then I started to realize that I wasn't really happy in doing that. I was just staying busy. And that doing things that were creative really brought me joy, rather than staying busy. So whether it was creating a spreadsheet for all the books that I read, or painting something, or doing a paint night with my mom and my sisters, it really was able to, I guess my brother was there too, just really bring that joy, just the peaceful moments of, okay, I'm going to focus on where I am now rather than being in the past or being in the future, just centering on, okay, I'm going to focus on the good things that are happening right now. So I don't know if I have a magic, this is how I did it, and this is a 5-step process. It was just,
little by little.
Took time. Yeah.
And I'm sure that's how you gathered I'm using this as a metaphor, but all the little pieces in your room, like,
yes,
you sought out those things that made you happy, and now you have reminders all around you.
Yeah. I think I spent a lot of time trying to fit into the boxes that people wanted me to be in. Like, this friend liked this thing, so I wanted to be like that person. Or this thing is hip, and I want to be like that person. And I wasn't really happy. And once I really was like, I like this thing, and I want to do it because I want to do it, but not because this person thinks it's dumb. I want to do it, so I'm going to do it. And so that was really, really big for me. So
I love that. As you were talking, I was just sitting here thinking, like, how do we discover what we love and what makes us happy? You know? And you have to just try it. But once you know, like, stick to the stuff you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, I mean, try new things is one in and of itself.
When it's so scary, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. You're spitting so much wisdom. I love it. I love it so much. You also mentioned on the form, you have a type of personality that latches onto something, and you like to find every and any detail about that. Do you think that is part of what we've been talking about, or is that a separate thing?
I think it is. Like, for the longest time, I mean, growing up, I didn't have a ton of friends in elementary school or middle school, and so I read a ton. Harry Potter was like my go-to. So if you asked me, like, if you asked me like any Harry Potter trivia, and still to this day, I could probably, like,
That's what we're gonna do after this episode. I'm running into your room and we're gonna do Harry Potter trivia.
Yes. But I kind of latched onto those things, and I knew those things, and so I wanted to kind of consume it. And it's continued to that day. Like, I know music that I listen to, TV shows, like, I'm kind of the odd man out in my family. Like, I've always been into boy bands and that kind of stuff.
Love boy bands.
So good. I think, just sticking to those things, but also, like, finding what feels good to me. Like, if I don't like it, it doesn't latch on. And so, like, these books, I love collecting books. Like, this is a problem right here.
No,
but
it's not a problem. It's happy. It's happy. It's so fun.
It's a good thing. And it's not great for my wallet.
It's so Em. Like, our roommate Kate, her episodes, it's all pink, because she's like, I'm the person that when you meet me and know me, like, you will think of pink. Like,
no, it's true. She radiates pink.
And like neon colors. And so it's like, you though are this, like, you're a book collection soul. I don't know, like
a librarian.
But, like, way cooler. And who loves boy bands and art, and, like, I don't know, it's just this cool space that I'm excited to learn more about from you.
Thank you.
Okay, I cut you off though. You were saying something and I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember in my brain. I was probably talking about something irrelevant.
Just like once you find something that you love, you latch onto it.
Yeah, I think I've really had to take a step back, and because I do have, I would say, an addictive personality, to step back and go, okay, do I like this because the person that I am friends with or that I'm talking to likes it, or do I like it because of me? And then taking those things that I do love, and making them a part of myself, and just kind of managing that. So
has part of your journey been figuring out, like, what makes you happy and, like, caring less about what people think?
Absolutely. I'm definitely a people pleaser. And And so for the longest time, especially in college, when I had roommates and um, I wanted to be liked, I would latch on to something that someone liked, and I would make it like I'm going to learn everything so that I'll be able to
Really?
talk about something with someone because
Interesting.
I wanted so badly to have that.
Whoa.
Um, and so it's really taken a little bit to kind of go, okay, and take a step back. And I think that's part of maturing. And I'm obviously not great at it still. And there's things where I'm like, okay,
But like the journaling, the self-reflection.
yeah,
So to probably many other people pleasers who might be listening, what do you have to say to them?
I I'd say love yourself. I think I would say love yourself. Find a way to be able to be by yourself and be okay with it. Being able to spend time with yourself and being productive. And it's really hard. I really had to find something. Like I started painting, and that was something. It's not great. It's not like not I was Mozart. It's not Van Gogh, but it's something that I find I can do by myself, and I don't need someone there to, read their emotions and make them feel happy.
It's
Um,
making you happy.
yes, making you happy, finding the things that make you happy, and being okay being alone,
But it's
and
not,
learning to say no,
and
which
it's
is
not being selfish either. I mean,
yes,
because, yeah. But also, yeah, learning how to say no to things you
yeah.
like don't want to do. That's awesome. What helps you say no?
Sandwiching it with uh, um, what's the word I'm looking for?
Just like gratitude or appreciation?
Gratitude and like yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I'm thinking of the word, but like hey, I'll give you an example. Hey, I can't do that today, but like negotiating. That's the word. Oh my gosh.
Oh, negotiate.
Negotiating.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I can't be there today, or I can't help you. Whatever. I can't help you move today. I'd love to spend time with you tomorrow, or whatever. Just kind of like negotiating that because I think saying no is so hard because it's a very hard and it's a boundary.
It
Um,
is a boundary. Yeah.
and one of my friends was like, um, I'm not a bad person. I'm just setting a boundary, which I think for people pleasers is so hard because it's like, I'm a bad person. I've let someone down. And
Right,
like, to
right.
my core, that's
You
wrong.
want to just make everyone happy.
Yes. And so it's just, yeah, negotiating and then just saying, hey, I love you. I think you're fantastic. This has nothing to do with you. I just need to spend time for myself. I'm really tired. I need a shower, something. I don't know. But just kind of negotiating.
I like
Kind
that.
of
And then,
easy letdown.
well, and then that helps create space for more self discovery. And then I feel like the more I lean into, the more I'm journaling, the more I'm thinking about who I am, just the better I am to everyone around me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you end up making others happy without people pleasing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a win-win for everybody, I think. So,
And then I loved your second point about what you light up about. Do you remember or should I read it?
I don't. You should probably tell. I filled it out today.
You said you light up when people share what they love and their passionate side comes out.
I love it.
That's the
It makes me
podcast.
so happy.
You could be a co-host because that's why I started this podcast.
It's so good. Like it's just
is.
people being passionate about what they love. Like I think it's one of my like saddest things, and maybe it's like the empath in me, is when someone's talking in a room and they're so excited and nobody's listening. Like that's so heartbreaking to me. And I've seen it before, and it just like breaks my heart. And so if I could be that person in every room that like sees that person and goes and sits down, like tell me.
Yeah. So why do you think you're that way? Why do you think we're that way? Because I'm the same way.
I think there's a lot of things. I think I've spent so long where I was that person in a room where I was talking. I wanted to share this random Harry Potter fact, or I wanted to share this fact about BTS or One Direction or whatever, and I was like, I want to share this, but nobody was listening, and I've been there before, and so if I could ever make someone not feel like that, because I don't know if you've ever had this where and no one's listening, and you just kind of feel like. And so if I can have someone never feel like that, that's my goal in life.
I need to write that down because that is like, I've been reading this book. It's called Calling in the One, 7 Weeks to Attract the Love of Your Life. I highly recommend it. Cool. It's not so much the title as it is the things you like. it's just life reflection, basically.
Yeah.
But, okay, so, sorry, I'm like multitasking because I want to write
You're
down what
okay.
you just said. It's listening to someone to encourage and like validate their excitement, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I think in like dating relationships, if I'm like so excited and talking about something and they're like listening but not like engaged, I'm
Actually
like,
engaged. Yeah.
what the heck?
I was wasting my breath. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's like, I want to be a listener, but like not just, I mean, you could call it active listening, you could call it reflective listening, but like
Mm,
listening to encourage and validate others' excitement, even if you're not excited about it.
yeah. Well, I think too, if someone shared, like one of my favorite things, and I don't ever expect it in return, but if someone mentions something that they love, and then me like going and finding that thing and just like dropping it off when they're having a bad day or something, and just seeing like, oh, I've been seen, like someone was paying attention, like the joy, it's like that's great. That's all I need in life. So
Just paying attention. Yeah.
yes, pay attention, self-reflection,
Yeah.
situational awareness.
Well,
Yeah,
even with strangers too, like you were saying, if someone was in a room talking about what they're passionate about and no one else is caring, like part of it's like fake it till you make it, right? Like you
sure.
might really not care about what they're talking about.
Yeah,
I mean, I just like on dates, I feel like I'm thinking of experiences where it's like you don't want to be rude, but you're also not interested, but you also want to
yeah,
like make it an experience because you're there. Why not? And so it's like active listening. But like you can find some intriguing part, you know?
yeah,
Like I don't know, like if you really have the intention of helping them, like doing it as a service,
yeah.
then it will show up better. And that doesn't mean you're committed to listening to them forever or have to ever learn about whatever they're talking to about again, but
Yeah,
it's a service. I love
yeah,
it.
exactly.
So, do you have an example of when this happened in your life, when someone did it for you and when you were able to do it for someone else?
I I'm that person that like has like notes on their phone. Like
Yes.
someone will post something, you know,
Mhm.
oh I love this drink. Like my sister, she's a big Baja Blast fan. Like she
Mm.
loves it. She talks about it all the time.
Kate does too. We should bring it to Kate.
Yeah. And we would do random things like this, but I would just bring her one at work. Or
That's sweet.
I had a roommate once in college who really liked this certain kind of ice cream. I can't remember which one it was. And she was in nursing school and she was just struggling. And
Mm.
I didn't really need, and I feel like I'm like going against what I'm saying. Like I don't ask for the recognition. But I just kind of dropped it off her door and I was like, hey, I love you. I hope you like, I can't really help you, but I hope that this helps somewhat.
Yeah.
Just kind of those things. And it doesn't have to be like, I need something in return. I really just like wanted you to feel good because you're in a low spot or just, I was thinking of you. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Why is that so powerful? That as well as like listening to people.
I think it's that selfless act of service um, that I think just brings so much joy. I think it's that sharing of light. Um, and everyone wants to be recognized, everybody wants to be heard and seen. And so when you are, especially in a world where everyone is so focused on themselves, that's so like a hey, like I am aware of you. It's someone else's tender mercy. Like I look for tender mercies every single day.
Mm.
I find it in the sunset. I find it in the green lights on the way to work, whatever. But
Mhm.
when someone else acts um, and does it for you or you do it for them, it's that physical reminder, not just of like like uh
Making it up. But it's not
yeah,
making it
like
up.
old I guess it could be, but it's like a physical reminder
Having to
of
seek it out.
I'm aware of you, and that's just yeah,
It's so impactful. Probably
yeah,
more impactful than we realize.
yeah,
I know. I've been trying to get a little bit better at it, right? The 1% better. So it's like, okay, first I'll start praying for them, and
yeah,
then I'll start canceling things in my schedule so I can have time to go and actually do these
yes,
things because it takes time and sacrifice. And
exactly.
that's what being selfless is sacrifice,
I
which
love it.
I am like finally putting some light bulbs ahead and connecting the dots and realizing what it takes to because I'm like I want to live a selfless service life, you know, but it's
Yeah,
like I'm so far from it because it's hasn't kicked in with like or hasn't clicked with how I actually do that.
sure.
But I mean, this is probably the 100th episode I've talked about this. It's like, okay, if I keep talking about it, I'll figure it out, but
Wonder.
I have to remind myself that talking about it doesn't change things. Like, I need to.
But it motivates you to wanting to do it.
True.
And if it's that 1%, like you just said, like
I'll just
putting
keep
that
talking
effort
about it.
in. And it's not even like you don't have to go out of your way. Like, it's just say, oh, I thought about them. Text message, 2 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, it's just.
We'll start there.
Yeah.
Then I want to walk the walk, though. So.
Yeah.
Step by
step.
But I love this reminder. It's so good.
Yeah.
Kind of back to the beginning of this point.
Yeah.
When people share what they're passionate about, why should others care about that? Like, how can we talk about this more?
Yeah. I think it's part of that golden rule is I would want someone to listen to me. I would want someone to listen about the sports team that I love, or I would want somebody to listen to this important history fact that I love, whatever, whatever it is for anybody. And it's that golden rule of treating others the way you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes a long way. And there's a reason it's called the golden rule, is because it's kind of the core of everything. Is if you treat people the way you wanted to be treated, just it's a recipe for good things. Mm-hmm. Whether you're treated the way that you're supposed to in return, it's more important that they realize, and they'll look back on that and go, huh, like I remember that person reaching out to me or sending a text or like, leaving me that brownie or, whatever.
Yeah.
So
I think a parallel conversation to this is like a book I've read, and there's a TED talk about like your heart's content. I'll have to find it, but it's called Leadership and Self-Deception. But then there's like an article and a TED talk, and this guy talks about like how you view others, right? You're in the box, and if you're out of the box, you view others so much better and treat them better, right?
Yeah.
And your response to when things happen, like a kid crashed his mom's car or got home late, and how she responds impacts his life. And the dad who responds to his kid's car crash, like, guess you'll have to take the other car, and like the kid left like sobbing, just because of that mercy, but like it could have altered the course of his life if it had gone another way. But like, I love that we can start small though with talking to others about what they love. And I like Stephen Covey. It's like people love the sound of their own name.
Yeah.
And people love when people try to care about what you love.
Yeah.
And I think when you really want to build a relationship, you have to take that times 10.
Yeah.
And like really dive into what other people care about. You don't have to care about it like personally, but like enough to like help support that other person.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is a good reminder. I love it. All right. Any last thoughts before we move on to point number 3?
I don't think so. Sorry, I've been like talking way more than I should have.
That's the whole point of this. I'm probably talking so much. You just have so many great things I'm excited to get to.
I feel like I'm just blabbering.
No, so
I'm not crying yet, but.
And then your third thing was you love history, which I do too. History is so cool.
It's just so fascinating. Like, I started this podcast like a couple weeks ago. I have this thing where I binge listen podcasts.
Okay, which one was
it? This one is called History Today.
Okay.
And it's like back in 2020, and they're only like 20-minute episodes. You can find it, I think, anywhere you find podcasts. But it's just like a little 20-minute every single day. It's like this day in history, and it'll say the date, and then it'll go into detail. And they record like people that are talk about it, and it's kind of like a documentary sense. And it's so fascinating, the stuff that you learn. There's been a couple episodes where I'm like, this is so cool, and I didn't know this, and it's just kind of like puts it in perspective, and it's been kind of fun to listen to. But I've always loved history, and especially the Civil War, especially since living in South Carolina. Yeah. There's so much going on, and there's so many people who are like, oh, it's so boring. I'm like, no, it's fascinating.
Have you ever looked up the Lincoln hypothesis?
No.
It's that he potentially checked out the Book of Mormon from the Library of
Congress. Oh, yes, I did see that. It was like
before his Emancipation Proclamation.
Yes.
Yeah, crazy. No, like I get giddy sometimes with things like this in history, but I also sway to like the conspiracy side of like, oh, there could be Egyptians hidden from the Smithsonian in the Grand Canyon, and I'm like, what?
So crazy. It's so cool how the world works and how they're like, we have all this recorded history, but there's so much before then when there wasn't recorded. Like, what happened? How did things go?
I can't wait to know it all.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I love historical fiction. Um, I love books. So
Yeah.
anything like that, it's just so cool.
Yeah, that was kind of the first point too. It's like you've loved books your whole life.
Yeah,
And yeah, give us maybe a top 3 books recently.
books. Oh, so Harry Potter was like my first. Actually, no, it's a lie. There's a series called Sisters Grimm, like that started it
Yeah.
off.
Okay.
It's super good. It's like I don't know if you've ever watched Once Upon a Time. I think Once Upon a Time took
That
like bits and
idea.
pieces from it.
Cool.
Super good, like fairy tale
Mhm.
in real life sort of situation. And then Harry Potter. Um,
Love.
I just what did I just finish? Um, I love the Throne of Glass series. I can't remember the book that I just read, but the Throne of Glass is really good. It's a YA series. Um, and
Yeah.
her storyline and her world building is fantastic.
Okay.
So I 10 out of 10 recommend.
Cool.
Uh,
Oh, I'm
but I could
excited.
go on for hours about books, so you probably shouldn't start that conversation
No, I
with
love
me.
it.
Like I give you all sorts.
You mentioned historical fiction, and that's usually what gets me.
Yeah.
The Nightingale, so famous, so amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Sarah's Key, also amazing. If you haven't read that one,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was another one. Oh, it's on my Goodreads, but I was captivated. It's like an old lady who was a maid of these aristocratic ladies,
Oh.
and it's like her recalling the story because they're making a movie about it, and they're like, what really happened, and she's the only one who like knows the truth. It's so good.
I'm gonna have to read that
Yeah,
one because
I'll
that
look
like
up
is
the
right up
name.
my alley of like
Yeah.
that sounds fantastic.
No, but books are important. And as you were talking about just like history and learning, I was like, knowledge is light. Like we were talking
Yeah.
about things that make us happy and light, like learning and knowledge. Like I learned so much every podcast episode. And I was talking to my friend at the gym today, and I was like, I need to find guests for my podcast. And he's like, you should just like find niches on Instagram and like people with a decent following and just be like, want to be on my podcast. And like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I could do monthly segments. I could have historians. I could have
Absolutely.
gym rats. I could have, I don't know,
Yeah.
just like all sorts of things. I'm like, I can't wait to learn. Like, what do I want to learn about, you know?
Yeah.
But I love books
That's
too.
awesome. That's a great idea. I would have never thought about that.
Thank you. You can co-host because it's what people line up about, right? No, but you're inspiring me to read more, and it's great because you live with me, so I'll be hopefully that much more inspired to be like, I'll grab my book too and read, and maybe I'll even borrow a book. Yeah, exactly.
Do it. Camila just borrowed one. She's actually borrowed all my Harry Potter ones.
Yes,
so.
yes, I've been seeing her
Wonderful.
reading them when I come home. It's awesome.
It's great.
She's gonna be on the podcast next week, everybody. It's gonna be a roommate trio. We'll bring Kate back on too for Kate part 2.
There we go. We'll just get them all together.
Kate has all these thoughts. Yeah, it's awesome. We could honestly do a whole roommate episode.
That'd be fun.
And it could be really hard for me, but you guys could talk about how it is living with someone with crazy ADHD, because we all see things differently in our house.
Yeah.
And you've been wonderful, but like little tensions here and there, we usually move past them pretty quick. But
Yeah.
like some things that I don't think twice about, like completely bug other people, and then things that don't bug them bug me, and I'm like, we should do an episode on this. Like, because I watched an episode about a husband and wife, and he has ADHD, and he was like, okay, this is really hard for me, but my wife is here, and we're talking about what it's like to live with me with ADHD. And I'm like, we could do that with my roommates. It'll call me out on all these things. Like
I'd be like, oh no.
My piles of stuff. I don't know. My whole like Instagram reel feed is now like all these ADHD videos, just because that's what I searched once. But they're so true, and I'm like, oh, I see it now. I get why people are bugged with me sometimes. Anyways, sorry. Besides the point, back to you're inspiring all of us to read more, and I love that. The next, we'll wrap up shortly, but I loved what you said about where you're focusing your life energy now. Do you remember what you said? I can read it too.
You're gonna have to do it. I'm so sorry.
You're good. It was a long form. But you said you love serving others, reaching out and being kind, brings a certain peace that not a lot of other things bring. Not only does it make them feel loved and cherished, but it helps me be more intuitive to people around me. And I'm like, we were talking about that a little bit, like paying attention to people's favorite things, and like I've tried to have notes like that too. But I love that you said like, yeah, they're loved and cherished, but you're more intuitive about the people around you.
Yeah.
That was just worded so great. Why does that matter to you?
I think being intuitive to people and realizing like there's that quote, I don't know who said it, but like treating people like it's their worst day ever.
Ooh.
Like, if you like, and I think that's so true. Like, I would never want to be, because I had a bad day, I took it out on someone who was having a worse day. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I got cut off in traffic and it put me in a bad mood, but someone's, cat died. You know what I mean? And so treating people as if it's having their worst day also makes them feel that they're important. And I think that's probably like, I wonder if, like, looking back, I'm like, maybe this just sounds like a people pleaser just ranting about I should treat people with kindness. But I think treating someone like that and being kind is so important. Like, there's that primary hand that Jesus says, love everyone. Like, that was one of my favorites as a kid, and it's just so sweet and
I'm gonna
kind.
look that one up. I don't remember that one.
Really? um, or I'm trying to be like Jesus is another one that I kind of find myself humming a lot. Just because I'm trying to be like Jesus. I'm trying to serve my neighbor, love my friends. Like, spreading that light and that joy is it's hard to do, and it's hard, especially on the days where, like, I just want to, like, I want to go in my room and I want to be alone and I don't want anyone to talk to me, sort of.
I mean, I felt that way tonight too. I'm like, I just want to sit here and do nothing.
Yeah. I just want to doom school for 5 hours, okay? And so it's just that, like, just that reaching out and in just little ways. And it doesn't have to be something big. It doesn't have to be like a grand gesture. It just needs to be something simple. And I think something every little day is that, like, path to being able to treat people and, like, noticing that. Because sometimes it's kind of hard in your day-to-day life to go, okay, what are people thinking? What, like, I can't even get past my own thoughts.
Yeah.
But just the little things every day, you start to notice, oh crap, like the dishes didn't get done, or the trash didn't get taken out. The trash is going to be here. I'll just take care of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then it's one less thing that someone has to worry about. It's one less thing that someone has to think, okay, well, this is, I've got to do it again. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know.
The little things add up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to remember. Well, I kind of was taking notes, and it's like, reach out in little ways, like daily, like it'll help you grow to where it's just who you are, right?
Yeah.
And you were saying, like, it's the path to, like, the golden rule in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, like, something higher than the golden rule.
Oh.
And it had a funny name. I'll have to Google it. But I think it was, like, treat people how they want to be treated.
I like that.
Which I'll have to Google it now.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know what it is.
But yeah, it's definitely parallel with the golden rule. But it's like kindness, but, like, also how you're treated could be different than someone else's. So it's like, instead it's like, how do they want to be treated? So it's just seeking to understand a little bit
speaking
more.
Their love language. Yeah. I love that.
But I don't know, this is such a good reminder, because I think everyone forgets it. And like you said, our society has moved into unintentional selfishness.
Yes.
Like, I'm so guilty of it. Like,
same.
We don't realize what we're doing. Like, even just being on our phones so much is so selfish. It's just us and our phones, and we're not paying attention to anything else around us. Like you were saying, it's like when you help someone feel loved, like, you're more intuitive about the people around you. And more than not, like what someone said in a conference talk, like 90% of the time someone is going through something. Like, we all have one thing or another that we're struggling with, even if life is going pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you were talking about. Like, why should others know about this? You were just like, there are days where it's like, woe is me kind of days on life.
Yeah.
And I'm really good at that. Like, even like, I don't know, like, I can find fault with things pretty quickly.
Sure. And it's so easy too. I think we've gotten to that mindset of, oh, this is so rough and this is so hard. But, like, taking a step back and going, okay, yeah, today was really hard, but, like, look at this sunset. This is so important. You know what I mean? Just kind of those little things. And it's not easy. Like, it took me, I'm still not great at it. There's days where I'm like, I want to watch the world burn. Like,
yeah.
But just those little things of, like, and like, I'm not great at scripture study or journaling, but just like even taking pictures. Like I love to take pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this app called Laps where it's like
Oh
a
yeah.
yeah.
I've
You
seen
know what I'm
it.
talking about.
It looks
It's
cute.
one of my
I
favorites.
should do it.
Yeah. Where I just take a picture and it's kind of like my grateful things.
Mm-hmm.
This sunset was super pretty. These lights at this concert was gorgeous. You know what I mean? Just those little
Yeah, Niall Horan. Ooh. Oh, and you just went to Russell Dickerson and
yeah,
Sam
and
Hunt.
Sam Hunt. Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
I'm gonna come over to your room
We can
and watch
chat.
videos. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the examples you shared too, it's like I can count on so many fingers like how often you'd been in the trenches and going through it and someone brought you wildflowers off the side of the road or like your favorite drink or just like people being in tune to know that like you could bless someone's life. And
Yeah.
like I think everyone has really good intuition. Women, I think, biologically have a greater intuition.
Yeah.
I think that's just part of our caring, nurturing, feminine side. But
Yeah.
like when we tap into it, it's like, like it's like almost when you're staring at someone and they can feel you staring at them. It's
Yeah.
almost like that. Like
Uh-huh.
if you try to like look into someone's eyes, you can learn so much about
Yeah,
someone.
absolutely.
They made us
Yeah.
do that as EFY counselors in
That's
2018.
awesome.
They were like, okay, find someone you don't really know and like sit there and you can talk, but like stare into their eyes for 2 minutes.
I would have died. I would have
2
been like, I
minutes.
can't. That makes me want to go into my turtle shell. I'm like, nah, I'm good, thanks.
Luckily, I was like, sure, I can do this. So it was some random girl, don't remember her name, but like we just
Yeah.
sat there and looked at each other, eye contact for 2 whole minutes. And I don't even like we like talked a little bit, but like the whole rest of the week when I saw her, I was like, "Hey, what's up? Like we're pals," you know, like it was connecting. So it's like if you
Yeah.
ever want to connect with someone, just be like, "Can we stare into each
I was
other's
just
eyes
staring you in
for
the
2
eyes.
minutes?" No, but like I was gonna make my Sunday school class do it once because I was like, we should really get to know each other.
Yeah.
But it never happened. I suggested it though, and I wonder if anyone ever did it. I haven't done it since, so maybe it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of a weird thing. But anyways, I love that. I hopefully as you listen to this episode, you think of someone that you could like do something nice for, or I've been like going crazy on TikTok shop and there's really cheap things. And they're pretty good quality. So
It's a
like
trap.
if you
It's a
just
trap, man.
if you just buy a few things and take them to your
Uh-huh.
friends, like how much fun would that be? I'm like trying to
Yeah.
figure out how I can do that. Like I got these white socks and I have a lot of them. So if you need
Yeah.
white socks, Em, I'll come give you one. But I was like, I could like embroider a letter, like because I
That would
want to
be
get
so cute.
I
Or like
could
little
just
butterflies or little flowers.
yeah. I've embroidered like once in my life, but I'm like it can't be that hard. So I'm like I could just like turn on my favorite show. And
Absolutely.
I'm watching Heart of Dixie right now, and if
I love
anyone's
it.
ever watched it, like it's
No,
so
I
good.
haven't.
I feel like I should be talking like this the whole time. I think I have a pretty good Southern accent. Maybe
Yeah,
I'll try
it's
a
pretty
whole
good.
episode just in a Southern accent. It'd probably be so cringy. Anyways,
That would
but
be
yeah,
so funny.
thank you for inspiring me to like do
Oh.
something little for people. I have a treat for you too that I forgot to
Oh.
pick up, but it's kind. See, and I give yourself grace, and I'm talking just to give myself grace because it's like sometimes we like, especially with my fast-paced mind, if I don't do it in like 2 minutes, then I never do it.
Sure.
And then I just feel like I'm living a life that's like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I'm like that is my life. Like I can talk a lot and I can talk the talk, but I'm slowly gonna walk the walk. I grabbed
And there's that quote by Leo Tolstoy and Elder
love
Holland
Tolstoy.
quoted it. Yeah, he talked about, and Elder Holland quoted his talk, and that's the only reason I know. But it's that like, just because you're like, oh gosh, I'm gonna botch it now, but like, the road to happiness or the road to righteousness isn't less the right way simply because you're like swerving from side to side. Like, just because you're going back and forth doesn't mean that you're not on the right path. So like you're trying and you have that intention. So it's just that like staying on the path.
I gotta look this up. I love Tolstoy so much.
I'll have to say I'll screenshot it. I've got it. Like yeah. Anyways.
Okay. And I'll post it too. But yeah, I've been to Tolstoy's house and it was so cool.
That's cool.
No, it was literally so cool. I'll go back one day. But I love that. And then speaking of quotes, we're gonna end with 2 quotes that you have shared.
Yes.
And I'm excited. Do you remember both of them?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Share them.
For the longest time, I had the first one on my wallpaper.
Yes.
It's giggle more than you suffer, which I just love. Like, yes, life is gonna be hard and it's gonna suck, but like laugh,
Mhm.
find the
Oh,
joy.
yeah.
Like this last year has been so hard. So I've really
Yeah.
had to kind of go, okay, like what brings me joy? Like what makes me laugh? My
Mhm.
family makes me laugh. Like I love TV shows, I love books. What makes me laugh?
Yeah.
Giggle more than you suffer. And
Mm.
I think it's a little twisted way of saying that, but I think it's funny. So
Man, it, I think the number one on my list, besides a man that loves God, is I need a man who makes me laugh,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
till my stomach hurts, and
Yes.
I'm like, how can I? It's hard when you like, I want to laugh so hard every day. It's hard when it's like you don't want to force it because it has to just be those moments where you just laugh.
Genuine. Yeah.
But like, pay attention to the people who make you laugh and
Yeah.
spend time with them. Like even today, like I had posted this thing on my Instagram and I was taking the garbage out and like Kate opens the door and she was just laughing her head off and she was like, your story, and I'm like, crap, did I accidentally post something I shouldn't have? Like
Was it the
like did
soda?
it go to my, yeah, it was the soda. I was like, did it go not on my close friends, because I post a lot on my close friends, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, the soda. And I was laughing hard last night, and
Yeah.
so I posted it and she was dying because I
I was laughing when I watched
that's why
it.
I'm
I
gonna
was
go
like,
mop
oh
the floors.
no.
Yeah, no, it was so funny, but yeah, sometimes I laugh by myself. Like, I don't know, sometimes just turning on a video on YouTube,
Yeah.
like, or a comedian, like, you can laugh by yourself and it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Finding joy in being by yourself. It's
Yeah.
great.
Or when I do something stupid, like at the gym today, like, hit the weight against my leg and I just was like trying to do this workout. I just was laughing at myself.
I
So,
think that's such a
because,
beautiful talent though, is being able to laugh at yourself and being able like I think people who take themselves too seriously are so like that just seems so sad.
yeah,
Just finding a way to like laugh at yourself and just, it's not that serious. Like,
yeah,
yeah, it's probably awkward. I'll probably think about it for the next 3 weeks.
yeah,
But it's okay. You know what I mean?
yeah. I think there's a Marjorie Hinckley quote where she's like go through life trying to find happiness, and like crying gives me headaches, so I
Yeah.
might as well laugh. You know,
Yeah.
like laughing doesn't give me a headache. And I'm like, that's so true.
That's
You
the
know, it's
point.
like, yeah, cry, feel your feelings, but like if you get on TikTok and laugh, great. You know,
Great.
like
That's awesome.
there are outlets
Yeah.
and it's wonderful. And then the other quote you have, do you remember that one too?
Was it the glitter one?
uh-huh.
Find glitter, have glitter in your veins or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know.
Okay, what does that mean to you? We'll wrap
I
up with
just
this.
think it's that part of share love, be happy. Like glitter
Yeah.
is happy and it's sparkly, and just spread that. And glitter, we all know, is infectious and it stays forever. So if you can spread that
Yep.
and leave an impact on people of feeling loved and accepted and having that joy,
Yeah.
all the better.
Oh, I
So
love that. So, to those who may also struggle with anxiety or depression, like for me, it's my like indecision, like when you
yeah,
tell a depressed person, like, just be happy, like,
yeah.
and I have felt that before in my life too. It's like, well,
So
just be happy, right? And like some people are like, well,
now
just make a decision. I'm like, I literally can't, like,
could not.
something
Yeah,
in my brain, I can't do it, right? And like, I've felt that way with depression and with anxiety.
yeah,
So, I mean, I feel like you've mentioned you've had a hard year, and I know that it's partially because you're just like, you're putting in the work, and that's
yeah.
hard. But what would you say to those people? We'll end on this.
I think because I mentioned I have dealt with anxiety, and then I wouldn't say depression as much, but I
Mm-hmm.
definitely have had those moments. Um, and I was actually diagnosed when I was serving my mission,
Mm,
and so that was really hard for me. I had no idea. I was in a new place. I didn't know, what was going on.
yeah.
And I started to write, like, and again, this is where the journaling and the meditation. I had a mirror, one of those cheap $5 mirrors, and I would do 3 things in a day. What happened today? What were the things that brought me joy? And I still think back on those things, and I have pictures, and I would take a picture of it too, so that I could look back. And even in the darkest points when I wanted to go home so badly, I wanted to be done. I could
Mm-hmm.
look back and go, oh yeah, that you know that member had my favorite ice cream,
Mm,
or I got to play a card game with these kids. Like sometimes it was grasping at straws. I was like, I had cereal for breakfast.
like
Like,
the sun was
it,
up.
yeah, the sun was up. It didn't rain
Yeah.
today, or
Mm-hmm.
just those little things where I had to take it day by day, and it's not going to be. And again, I don't have depression as bad as some people, and I feel so much for them because I can't imagine. I
Mm-hmm.
may tear up, but I can't imagine being in that spot and not being able to find those things. But I really think even if it's one or two things a day, taking a picture, writing it on a mirror, writing it down.
Mhm.
I was able to get out of bed today. I took a shower
Yeah.
and experiencing those wins. I was able to brush my teeth. I was able to, I talked to my friend today, or my friend called me on the phone, and just those little things
Yeah.
where it's step by step, line upon line. So
I love that. I love that that's what we're ending with because it encompasses all that we've talked about. So thank you.
no
Thank you
problem.
very much. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Sorry, it was a little bit longer. I
No,
chat.
I honestly, those are the best ones where it's like, this is important and
Yeah.
it's important to talk about. And I'm so grateful for all of that you shared.
Thanks
Everyone,
for
yeah,
having me. It was so much fun.
yeah, you can follow along. I'll tag your Instagram and I'm like, you should now do like a story live of your room and just show these things
Yeah.
that bring you light and joy
It's a
because
mess right now. I don't know how much.
well,
You can't see
when
the
you're
mess.
ready, but I'm like, I like, I love seeing what makes people them, you know?
Yeah.
So thank you. And everyone,
Yeah.
have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you all next week. See you later.
Yeah.